Shalom, Yasharala. I'll start out by giving infinite honors to Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone, and salutation and honor to you sincere brothers pushing this truth. I'm gonna do this sit down about what's to come, man. I mean, the testimony of Yahweh Shai is prophecy according to Revelation, the 19th chapter. So we're supposed to be occupied in all these prophecies that are coming to pass in our day and time. And the main prophecies that we're waiting on before our great king returns to the planet is martial law, the mark of the beast, and all hell breaking loose. Jeremiah 30:7, the great tribulation that the men of the Lord are going to have to go through to prove themselves worthy. So without further ado, oh yeah, and the 2/3, they have to receive their judgment. That prophecy is going to be fulfilled. And according to Ezekiel, the 6th chapter, our people are going to die by pestilence, by sword, and by famine. And the Most High, he's real creative. They're going to be dying in other ways. Women are going to get raped to death. People are going to get mauled to death by beasts of the field. It's going to be, the Most High is going to unleash his demons and let them just wreak havoc on this place. So it's our lot to tell what's to come, Lord willing, we of the elect, to tell what's to come before it happens. All right? This is the labor of love, to come out here and prophesy to the nations, be a light to the Gentiles. And so you don't miss your mark, have a self-analysis of yourself and pray to the Most High that he cover you from what's to come, because all hell is about to break loose. All right, I'm going to start off Psalms 9 and verse 17. The wicked, and I'm going to start at verse 16. Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executed. And the judgment that Yahweh is going to execute is going to be martial law and on those nuclear missiles. All right, that's going to be the ultimate judgment, the lake of fire. And it's going to be all hell breaking loose, man. You're going to see corpse by the thousands in the streets. No one's going to pick them up. They're going to ride in the streets full of maggots and decay. You're going to see the fowls of the air, the motherfucking, what you call them fucking birds that eat dead shit, condors, buzzards. They're going to be feasting in broad daylight in the cities of America, having a fill of meat. And you're going to see all kind of different judgments getting carried out, man. People dying by the sword. The CDC is going to unleash a diabolical diseases to to kill a big part of humanity. And it's going to be the judgment that our great power has executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Our people are going to be judged according to their works. All right? You're going to reap what you sow, whether your fruit be good or bad, That's a universal law that the great Yahweh has put in the planet Earth, man. Verse 17, the wicked shall be turned into hell. And we know that word hell is not talking about Dante's Inferno in Greek folklore. That's talking about a lower state. The state they're going to be in they're going to be in pitiful case. All right? They're going to be looking like skeletons. If the sword or pestilence don't kill them, they're going to die by famine. All right? And all the nations that forgot Yahweh. Okay? Let me get another precept. Because all these prophecies are going to come to pass, man. The Most High watches over his word to make sure it don't come back void. Though it tarry, it will come to pass. All right? This is Jeremiah 17 and 13. O Yahweh, the hope of Yasharala. All that forsake thee shall be ashamed. And it's talking about his people. And the majority of our people, 2/3 of our people, have forsaken Yahweh Shema Shai. They reject his word. And they're going to be ashamed. All right? They're going to regret it. All right? And they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken Yahweh, the fountain of living waters. Let me skip down to verse 23. But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear, nor receive instruction. All right, and that's our people, stiff-necked, hard-headed people that want to rock out to the vibration of this devil to have us in derision. They rock out to the YOLO, you only live once vibration, and they do as they will. They are lawless, and they're gonna die for it. They're gonna die grievous deaths for it. Let's skip down to the last verse, verse 27. But if you are not hearkening to me to hallow the Sabbath day, and not bear a burden, even entering at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then will I kindle a fire in the gates thereof. And you know Jerusalem and people before its place. So he's talking to Yasharala. And let's see what that fire is in the gates thereof. All right, go precept on precept, here a little, there a little. All right. By stammering lips, our Heavenly Father is going to talk to his people. All right. We bring out the banger, man. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. This is that fire. This is that fire. And look what Ezra said. When he was looking at that fire, he was in the spirit in ancient time past, and he seen that fire. And it says, woe is me. Woe is me. Who would deliver me in those days? So Ezra saw great death, man. He saw millions and millions of people dying all over this God-forsaken kingdom. He seen people starving to death, babies getting raped, people living from being cannibals. You know, since the great famine, they start eating each other. All right. He's seen all this madness. All right. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Okay. The beginning of famine and great death. That's hell. That's the lowest state these people in. Women ain't going to have maxi pads or water to clean them. So they're going to end up probably falling asleep and flies crawling in them, having maggots all in their vaginas and shit. And worms crawling off of them from not being able to clean. These are the type of things going to happen when the infrastructure falls. When you get off the grid and you don't have no resources and simple commodities, what you're used to having, like water, soap, all right, you're going to be in a pitiful case. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Well, Ezra, it's safe to say he was part of the elect. He's going to call on that watchtower, Yahweh Shema Shai. His name is a high tower, and the righteous run up to it. Okay? You know, the men of the Lord want to be comforted. So they're working out their soul salvation with fear and trembling and doing what it takes right now. Staying connected to our power. And that's his word. And applying his word to our lives. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute. This is what's going to happen to the people for rejecting Yahweh Shema Shai and forgetting him, man. All right? But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. All right? These are the things that's going to happen. I'm going to skip down to verse 23. And that the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. This is what's coming to America. This is what's going to be happening all across the planet, but especially here in Babylon and Egypt. Okay? And there shall be none to till the earth and sow it. It's going to look like the movie Denzel played in, the Book of Eli. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Okay? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For the places shall be desolate of men. You're going to have great death, man. You ain't going to be seeing nobody. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there should be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which hide themselves in the thick groves and the clefts of the rocks. And they're going to be hiding themselves because the Egyptians are going to be slaying the Egyptians, man. It's going to be madness, man. The leaks of this, the Most High has put a beguiling spirit on the elites of this nation, and they're going to make it happen. All right, this is Isaiah 19:1, the burden of Egypt. And we all know that America is spiritually Egypt, spiritually Babylon, spiritually Assyria, okay? Spiritual Nineveh, all right? The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Yahweh ride up on the Yahweh Shemel shall ride up on the swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. And that's talking about America. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against Egyptians. All right, that's going to happen with martial law, the race wars, class wars. He's going to set the Americans against Americans. A kingdom divided can't stand. These are the things that's going to happen right before America be destroyed, man. And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what our great king said when he came to the planet. He didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword, all right, and turn brother against brother, mother against mother-in-law, daughter against daughter-in-law, so on and so forth. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. All right? And the Egyptians I will give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh, the power of hosts. All right? Verse 16, I'm going to skip down to verse 16. And in that day shall Egypt be likened unto women. You're going to have all these so-called killers, these so-called Marines, all these people that hollering they macho and brave and, you know, how men be in this society. You know, the Most High say, in that day Egypt shall be like unto women. These macho brave guys are gonna be like women, screaming and scared. And they wicked ass is gonna be calling on Yahweh Shai, but he won't hear him. He gonna be laughing at him through his prophets. And it shall be afraid, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which he shall shake over. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. So that means these niggas, they're going to rise up and get to killing white people, you know. All of this will come to pass. And everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of Yahweh of hosts, which he hath determined against it. And in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. And you know, when the Israelites came into Canaan, they took Canaan as a spoil. They destroyed the inhabitants of Canaan, them Canaanites, man. So the same thing is going to happen to Egypt. All right? So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors to Yahweh Shemel Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to you sincere brothers pushing this truth across the 4 winds. And I got this clip, you know, to give you a visual depiction of what's to come. These devils, the Most High is going to use them to put it into play, put this action into play. And this guy right here, he's going to break it down with grace, what's to come, all right? These devils, they putting their tongues on each other and they're exposing all the so-called secrets they used to have. So with that, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala.
Finance chairman at that point, I probably would have been in, Secretary of the Treasury or something, whatever they wanted to do with me. What I was doing prior to that, so, making it right, I would volunteer to become a president of a company, and I'd go in and liquidate it. And we get rid of the expendable containers. That was my job.
Expendable containers meaning human beings?
That's right.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's
well, that was
the inside vernacular, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what we used at that time. I mean, it went from there to useless eaters today, so you're happy with it. You're a human resource.
Goyim.
Right.
Which, all you are is part of the commodity. Even in the business sense, you look at it, you have a cost. Labor. What is labor?
Yeah.
Human resource.
Right.
When you're going to put together some kind of product. Well, the inside of the game, when we started to use neutron bombs, today they figure that biologicals are much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
They're still planning on, the plan is to get a war started in the Middle East, and they're still planning on using a neutron bomb, or one of the bombs that they've got developed on Israel, and that's to begin World War III, which is all in the cards. And it's going to happen. They even put a monument up to this whole program, and called the Georgia Guidestones. Outside of Atlanta, and they've got it all set down there. It's all in 8 languages. Basically, it's fait accompli as far as they're concerned. It's just to get the thing going in the Middle East, and it's not going fast enough. I mean, Carter put this thing in, so we have the Plan 2000 with the war starting in the year 2000 in the Middle East.
Right.
Reduce the population of the planet down to 500 million, have one world currency under the Homeland Security, or FEMA, if you want to call it. They're going to declare an emergency, which are going to shut down everything. My friends, my CIA associates, I don't even call them friends anymore. CIA is crooks in action.
Yeah.
They're all professional liars.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be if they have that job.
Yeah.
So you have to look at what they're doing. Anyway, they're so concerned they're leaving the country too. Most of them are going to Latin America. Meanwhile, they're closing in every day right now, just closing in to make it so we're going to be set up in these enemy prisoner war camps. I published a book. It's called Chaos in America. In it, I was asked to build an enemy prisoner war camp. I put the contract in this book, so you can read it for yourself. This is in downtown Las Vegas, right on the railroad tracks. It says enemy prisoner war camp. They're all on top. And they're building them all the way across the United States right now. Bush signed an executive order taking the old forts and the army places that we shut down to get those organized to hold the so-called dissidents. Now, what's the definition of a dissident? And the problem is that we're going to enslave ourselves because most of the people want to keep having food coming in, and you're going to follow the line. You're just walking yourself into your own prison camp. Then we're going to come down to the extermination, just like World War II.
Right.
Well, Phil and I have lectured together. I know Phil Snyder. He's dead now.
I know he's dead. And so what about what he was saying about the number of bases at that time? I think it was 129 bases before he died. Underground had already been built. Is that all for the elite?
Yeah.
Really?
What are they going to do with the rest of the people? They just get rid of them, leave them above ground, and be radiated. Now, my son happens to be a nuclear physicist. Spent the last 3.5 years in a secret city in Russia. They're about 12 years ahead of us. They have 22,000 nuclear warheads. And, of course, we're the target. The Soviets have 3 nuclear submarines on the west coast and 3 on the east coast. They're about 2 football fields in length, 5 stories tall, and they all are nuclear powered and aimed at our major cities. West Coast is gone. Well, because the plan is the northern hemisphere is where they're going to release the nuclear bombs, and the theory was that the winds from the North Pole that are coming down, because that's increasing drastically, will go to the equator, and there will be very little spillover because of the reverse of the winds, because of the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
So therefore, the nuclear radiation here will be a lot more than the southern hemisphere.
And this is a fait accompli, you believe?
Oh, they think so. Oh, yeah, they think they've won. That's the reason why they don't bother about me talking about it. They don't care whether you know or not. What are you going to do about it? And you have no idea what China is until you go over there for yourself. With 1,300,000,000, you understand, almost, a little over 4 times our population.
Right.
It's, I spent some time over there and I had some government friends. They think what they're going to do is let the West go have its fight. And then they want to clean up. They say it's been 5,000 years. We want to run the world when we get through. And what they're doing, acquiring all the assets. They figure that Canada and the United States, the property there will, the food growing areas will be enough to take care of their people. And that's what they're looking at. Why are they? I mean, they bought
So
oil.
the U.S. will become a resource. Yeah.
Whatever's left of it.
Whatever's left of it, yeah. You seem to be in a unique position to be able to put a fair amount of this together, which is quite interesting.
Well, I walk my talk. I played the game.
You played the game. You know one level of it.
And I know. I used, like I say, I used to play around with the world leaders, so I know what they're planning on doing.
What change of heart? What happened in you that made you decide to share this information that happens at the inside level?
Well, it come back to a moral situation that happened to me, I think. When I flew to Aspen. I brought my two daughters up there so they could go skiing. And when I was invited to this meeting, when I walked into the room, the world leaders are there. That's when they asked me to be the finance chairman. As they said, we'd like you to be the finance chairman for the next president of the United States. And the first thing I asked is, why me? And they said, well, we owe you a favor. Remember I told you I volunteered to be president of the company, so they went down.
And then you liquidate, yeah.
I didn't charge them anything for it. It was just a game.
I see.
And anyway, that's what they said.
So I thought you'd be good on the team, yeah.
I'd be good. I'd be a team player. I just did it because it was, another one of these things. So next thing I asked them, I said, well, wait a minute. I just started this $100 million project. And they said, don't worry about it. We'll put it on ice. And I said, okay, who with? And I said, well, you can do that. Then I said the next thing was, who is going to be the next president? Now, this is 2 years before he became president.
Right.
They said Jimmy Carter. And I said, Jimmy who? They said, well, he's the Democratic governor of Georgia. And I said, I've been voting Republican. And Paul Volcker said, son, don't worry about it. We control them both.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I got the next question is, what does a finance chairman do?
Yeah.
I haven't been doing that. I've been playing all this other stuff. They said, will you sit down with Ted? And so I sat over with Ted Kennedy. He's sitting right next to me. And Ted and I are, he's just joking. He says, George, you're going to love this job. You're really good with money. We're going to send you out to all the state Democratic functions to raise money for the National Democratic Party. And he said, you're going to meet some real foxy ladies. And just then, my daughter walked in. Ted looked at her and he says, wow, I want to go to bed with that. I says, no, you don't, Ted. That's my daughter, and she's 14. And his response to me was, I don't care. I was livid. I really didn't know what to do.
So it was that moment,
Well,
that
wait a minute.
personal insult.
That was part of it.
Yeah.
I got up and I walked across the room.
Yeah.
I then talked to Pierre Trudeau and his wife, who was the Prime Minister of Canada at that time. And I'm sitting in front of them was a little half cigar box full of white powder. Now I'm looking around the rest of the room and I said, my God, something hit me at that point. If the world leaders have to resort to this, I don't think I want to be part of this thing. I mean, even to the even to the pollution and getting everything else they're talking about, getting rid of all the other people. I mean, I was raised in a packing house and slaughtering animals, and you get to the point where people are just animals at that level. And then I found out a little bit more about the details of the Plan 2000, of the annihilation of the entire planet. I said, I got to stop these people. There's something there. I mean, it was just, they got to be stopped.